could. You could. Yeah, no, you could. You could. You could. No, actually, you could. Yep. I don't think that's going to happen, but you could.
Because people are
there's a lot of
upset
time
out there now. And when people get upset, they want to turn.
They want
things
action.
right
That's why he's in office.
That's what happened.
That's why he's in office.
Yeah.
So he could fall on his own petard here. You know, he comes in trying to do something and doesn't do it. He's gone.
I think he has to do kind of what Clinton did, because Clinton, when he first came in, they want to make all these changes with health care and all that. Then he had to move more to the center. I don't think he was ever quite as left as Obama. But he had to move more to the center in his second term.
And that's what you have to do.
And Obama is going to stay. That's what he has to do.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Exactly. He's going to be challenged, because most times in the primary, you move to the extremes to get the people in office who you want to run in the general, and then in the general you move back to catch the independents, so you move back to the middle. He's going to have a tough time, and so too are all the parties, being one side or the other for the primary, because they're going to lose a lot of voters who they want to have in November. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch the jockeying. It really is.
Some local elections of interest here in Southwest Florida. Of course, we have, well, even for the state, Mark Rubio, Charlie Crist running for the Senate. You have Vernon Buchanan for the 13th district. That's our particular district where we tape this show, and I think he's pretty much got a lock on that.
I think he's pretty safe. Yeah, I think he's pretty safe.
He's done a good job.
Looks like it. But you got Rubio, and then you have Charlie Crist, who left the den of the Republican Party and is now an independent.
Which I thought was very strange that he would do that only a couple of months ago.
But he was losing. But he was losing in the polls, and so he had to do something. So he went to independent.
Is that a good move, you think?
I don't know. It's going to make it a narrow. It's going to make it a narrow race because of that. It was sort of Rubio's to lose. Now it's Charlie's to win if he can do it as an independent.
Right.
Now
he did veto a bill which kind of makes people think he's more Democrat than Republican, having to do with an abortion bill, I believe, a funding bill.
Signed a funding bill.
And he would not sign that.
Right.
So people are going to say, well, he's more Democrat. That may hurt him, may not. Who knows?
Right.
As an independent now,
he had that bill about the teachers, the education bill.
Right, education bill as well.
That made him look a little more Democratic than the teachers wanted. They got at the union. So
swing some voters that may have backed him as a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah, could. So I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to be again, you know, it's a number of issues. It's those, plus his party, plus the oil. You just don't know. You just don't know how people are really edgy about this stuff now. People didn't used to talk about politics much. It was sort of
more involved now.
Much more involved, much more vocal about it.
Which I think is good.
Yeah, much more vocal about it, and I think that's going to make a difference in the vote outcome.
Bill McCollum, we mentioned before, he's running, and Rick Scott also running in the primary.
Right, running for...
he's run some hospitals, which has caused some controversy. One of his hospitals apparently had some Medicare fraud, but that's what they're trying to pin on him now.
And his board fired him, but the local paper said today that they can't prove, McCollum's people can't really prove that he did it. I mean, that the hospitals paid bills, and he wanted to fight it. He wanted to go to court over it because he thought they were right in what they did. And there were a lot of other hospitals, Duke's Hospital, Harvard's Hospital, a number of other hospitals suffered this same thing. It's basically the way you account for things. And
a bookkeeping error.
It's a bookkeeping error, right. But I mean, but there are other hospitals did it.
Right.
And he wanted to fight it. And his board didn't want to fight it. They wanted to settle, not pay the money to attorneys, and they just settled.
Yeah.
So they basically pled. And he didn't want to do that, and for not doing that, the board got rid of him. So that's what McCollum is picking up.
And he's admitted to it in his ads, too. So
yeah, he's straightforward. Right, he's straightforward. So it's going to be a close race there, too, I think. I mean, people may be a little suspect of him because of the way McCollum's running this thing. But in the end, if he can get his message out, it'll fight McCollum's sort of attack.
Let's wrap up with a story of a woman that you worked with in the White House press corps last week, Helen Thomas, who was 89 years old, quote, retired from Hearst as a columnist, but she said some things the day before they got her into trouble, right? And that's not the first time she said things that got her into trouble. Well,
she's been controversial for a long time. She's out of Detroit. She went to Wayne State University, where I went, years before I went there, and was a journalism major, and comes out of Detroit's basically Arab community, big Arab community in Detroit. And she's sort of been outspoken about her feelings toward Israel, and she let it be known the other day what she thought the Israelis ought to do because of all the stir up with Gaza and the attacks on those embargoed ships and kind of things. And so what she said got her in trouble with Hearst, and Hearst basically retired her. She's 89 years old. She worked for UPI, the wire service, for a long time.
Yeah.
First president she covered was John Kennedy. She's been there for, I think, now 10 presidents, I think it is. So, yeah, she was a force to be reckoned with at one time. Presidents had to call on her.
She's always either the first or the second.
Well, that's what the rule in the White House press operation was. When you had a press conference, you called on either AP first, or Associated Press, or UPI, United Press International, and they just alternated them back and forth. So every press conference it went the other way. So if Helen got the first question, Terry Hunt got the second question. Then it went to the networks, and then it went to the rest of us. That's how they sort of ran the thing. So everybody got
a shot.
Their shot. So that's what it was. So she had that sort of position for a long time. Yeah, she got herself in trouble, and it's for as long as she was there, and as much as she did, and many people covered, it was a sad way to see her go.
Yeah, I always got the impression, watching her back in the day with Reagan and even before that, you knew what she was coming from. I don't think she was ever down the middle journalist.
Oh,
she was always a commentator.
No,
in my opinion.
she didn't hide her biases.
No,
she didn't hide her biases, but everybody knew them. I mean, it didn't make it right that she had them, but I mean, she didn't hide them. She wrote about them. She talked about them. She asked questions about them. And it was always there. So everybody, I mean, when I was in the White House press operation, you just knew that was Helen.
She was in the room.
That was Helen, exactly. That was Helen. But it's a sad way to see her go, because she got sort of stuck with a bias.
Well, she can do a blog now on her own.
I suppose. Yeah.
Well, Gary, a lot going on, as we just talked about, and it's going to even get more interesting as we move through the summer, and we'll keep an eye on it.
We should do this, because the next couple 3 weeks, as we lead up to the August primary, is going to be very important, and then beyond, between August and November, are really going to heat up with the oil spill and everything else. So yeah, we'll do this more.
Great, Gary, always good to talk to you.
Thanks,
Thank you for joining us on Political Roundtable. Till next time, Doug Miles for Gary Schuster. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.